Gervonta Tank Davis versus Frank the Ghost Martin. 12 rounds in the 135-pound division. This is for Tank's WBA lightweight belt. And I think we'll do this one a little bit differently than our normal types of breakdown. We're just going to have a conversation like we often do from time to time. But let's get out the usual rundown out the way first. Gervonta Tank Davis, 29 wins, no losses, 27 wins by way of knockout. Frank Martin, 18 wins, no losses, 12 wins by way of knockout. Both guys are southpaw. Martin has the height advantage, whereas Tank has the reach advantage by a slight margin. Now, let's talk about out of the ring before we talk about what's happening in the ring. This is a big stage for Frank Martin. This is a bigger stage than he's ever been on before. Right? He's been a headliner a few times already. You know, when he fought Michel Rivera, he was the headliner there. When he fought Akeem, he was the headliner there as well, too. But this is a different type of headline. There's more on hand, so to speak, right? There's more on deck when you're fighting a guy like Gervonta Tank Davis, and the atmosphere that he brings. The lights are a little bit brighter. The building is a little bit more packed, and the media is a little bit more chaotic, and the questions are a little bit different. And on the other hand, when you're looking at it from Tank's perspective, he's used to this, right? He's been fighting on the big stage. This is nothing new for him. You know, he knows how to maneuver the moment and the atmosphere. But I do think Martin gives Tank a much different look inside the ring than anyone that he's faced before in some slight different ways. Martin is explosive. He's an athletic fighter, very quick with his movement, his speed, and his hands. So let's go into the ring now that we've kind of touched a little bit on the external things outside of the ring. I was very impressed with Frank Martin's performance against Michel Rivera. If you watch Rivera fight, you know, if you haven't heard of Michel Rivera, you know, he pretty much looks like Muhammad Ali in some close ways from a physical standpoint. But if you've watched his fight, man, he's quick, explosive, quick hands, just a very good, solid young fighter. And Martin fought an excellent fight in that fight. He used his quickness, his hand speed, his footwork to stay ahead of Michel Rivera on the night. He kind of just beat him to the punch all night. You know, it's not that Rivera fought a bad fight, because he did have his moments, but Frank Martin just fought a better fight. He was the better man on the night. Martin found his groove, found his timing, and he capitalized on the missed opportunities of Michel Rivera when he would overcommit to a shot and he would make mistakes. Felt like he countered well on the night, executed his team's game plan and his game plan to a T, and he won the fight. Now, Rivera caught Martin a few times with the straight hand, but it wasn't enough power behind it to really discourage Martin. Felt like Martin did take the shot well, but he did get caught with that right hand a few times more than I would have liked to have seen him get caught with that same similar shot. I'm not a fan of the shoulder roll pullback type of defense, because that left Martin open. And, you know, when you're fighting a guy like Tank, you can't afford to miss. You can't afford that. You can't afford too many mistakes where a man can just hit you cleanly, because Tank has that type of power where all he needs is one. But it was an excellent performance from Frank the Ghost Martin. Now, Tank doesn't throw a whole lot of punches, especially early on in the fights, right? He kind of bides his time. You know, he moves to see what his opponent is doing. He might change levels and just try to feel it out to see how you're reacting to what he is doing. He doesn't throw a whole lot. When you have the type of power that Tank has, all it takes is one. And sometimes for guys who have this type of power, sometimes less is more. It's more quality shots than volume and quantity of shots for Gervonta Tank Davis. I could see a portion of this fight, especially in the first half of the fight, where, you know, Martin's building up a nice, comfortable lead, right? Simply because he'll throw more and outwork Tank, because Tank, it takes him a while to get going. Now, Tank always gets put inside this box as this guy who can just punch. And every Tank breakdown that I've done, I've tried to say it as much as I could. He's much more than a guy that can punch. I think he's a complete fighter. Got a strong IQ, you know, got a good chin. Of course, we know he can punch, but he can take a shot as well, too. And he's also got that type of mentality that you want a fighter to have. He's got that punishment mentality. He's got that, if I got to dig to get the win, I'm going to find a way to do that. He's done it before. And Tank punches with bad intentions. You know what I'm saying? I thought Hector Garcia was getting his shots off against Tank in certain rounds of their fight. But Tank would come back with a shot of his own and counter a shot of his own, and Garcia would get hit, and immediately his demeanor would change and he would back up, you know, which is smart to do. You don't want to get into a firefight with Gervonta Tank Davis. More times than not, that type of fight won't work out in your favor. Tank and his team prepare Tank very well for his opponents. When Tank fought Ryan Garcia, man, they knew when that left hand was coming. It's like they were in film study watching every single thing that Ryan Garcia was doing to hinting that he was going to shoot that left hand, because they made sure that Tank was wary of that left hand. And because, you know, they prepared him well, Tank was able to stay away from that hand and made sure that he didn't get caught with it. He did a great job of staying away from the strength of Ryan Garcia. He's a disciplined fighter, and I felt like he showed it again during that fight. Now, Martin, in his last fight, he fought Akeem, and it was a much different fight than the Rivera fight. Haratunian brought the fight to Martin and actually hit Martin a lot more than I was expecting him to get hit by. He didn't look as sharp offensively or as defensively as he did in the fight before when he fought Michel Rivera. But with that being said, man, Frank Martin is a winner. And no matter what, your job is to find a way to win. And that's exactly what he did. Martin is usually a guy who, you know, takes great angles and creates openings and capitalizes on those openings, but it took him a few rounds to kind of find those openings. But you also got to give credit to Akeem because he fought a great fight himself. That was a great version of Akeem on the night. You want to talk about coming to a different country and rising to the occasion. And Akeem, he was an undefeated fighter at the time as well, too. So to that point, he didn't know how to lose. You know what I'm saying? And he put forth a great performance. He hit Martin with some clean flush shots. I know people thought it was a poor performance from Frank Martin, but I don't think it was as terrible as a performance as many might think. I just think Akeem was better than a lot of people thought that he was, myself included. Akeem also looked bigger than Martin on the night. You know, he was fighting with a certain level of determination that does make a fighter dangerous. Yet, Frank Martin used his speed and his timing to get the win. And there were times where he did have Akeem hurt and backing up and shelling up on the back foot on the ropes a couple times throughout the fight, but he wasn't able to close out the show. But he got the win, and that's the most important thing, because if he did not get that win, his name probably wouldn't be in the mix to fight Gervonta Tank Davis. So both men have their strengths. Both men bring much to the table. So who wins? Before I give my pick on this fight, I have something real quick to share. You know, I'm always looking to bring more light, more value, more opportunities for the community. I've been working on a few different things in recent weeks to not just grow the channel, but as I said, to continue to provide as much value as I can to each of you in our community. With that being said, I got some exciting news to share. I'm happy to announce my partnership with BetStamp and signup Expert. It's a great opportunity for you to join some of the best sports books to get the best odds and new user offer. All you have to do is head over to my dedicated page at signupexpert.com/thebreakdown to explore a selection of sports books tailored to your region, each with its own unique offerings. So if you want to place a bet this weekend and on this fight and beyond, check out the link to find the best options for you in your region. Every sign up does support the channel, and it helps the channel grow and to expand and to create more opportunities, not just for me, but for our community. You know, I'm always looking out for you guys as best as I can. You can easily find the link in the description below this videos moving forward. So get down there and check it out and find the best option for you. Now, let's get back to the video. Obviously, Frank Martin knows that his back is against the wall here. He's coming in as the underdog. I'm not sure what the odds are going to look like closer to the night, but Martin is the underdog. You know what I'm saying? And I could see a situation here where I said where, Martin builds up a nice little lead in the first 3-4 rounds of this fight because Tank doesn't throw a whole lot. And when, if Martin throws 15 punches and Tank throws 3, it's hard not to say that Martin didn't win that round. He outworked Tank in that round, even if he didn't throw a whole lot. So I could see a situation where it looks like that in the early part of the fight. Then in the middle rounds, Tank is going to come on and start to let his hands go. Then it's going to get to a point where this fight is going to come down to discipline and who's going to make the necessary adjustments at the right time. While I think Martin will have the speed and the skills to be able to keep up with Tank and give him some different looks, I don't think he has the power to really keep Tank off of him when Tank does apply that type of pressure. Martin's best bet to me, man, is just to find a way to box his way to a victory, stay on the outside, use his jab, and not engage more than he needs to. Make this a very boring, ugly type of fight, or try and smother Tank, something that Pitbull Cruz was doing, and Cruz was able to have some success there too. So it's going to take a full, complete performance from Frank Martin. He has to know when to box on the outside, and he has to know when to be physical and be aggressive and to definitely tie up if he is in trouble. Calculated fight. Very tactical, calculated fight. Now, when you are a Gervonta Tank Davis, man, whenever shot that he throws could be the shot that closes out the show, which makes things a lot more difficult. Not to mention, Tank has the IQ and the skill set to put himself in the best position to be able to make his shots land. Tank is a very, very smart fighter, a very complete fighter. And I think on the night, while I like Frank Martin, I think is going to put forth a great performance, man, I'm just not sure that he's going to have the power to be able to keep up with Tank and back him up and to discourage him from keep coming forwards once he turns away from being a non-volume thrower to saying, you know what, it's time that I turn it up and it's time for me to let my hands go and start to impose my power on this fight. I like Gervonta Tank Davis to win this fight by stoppage. So those are my thoughts. What are your thoughts on this fight? Who do you have winning this one? Let me know in the comment section below. I don't always get to do all the suggested videos you guys suggest in the comment section below, but if you become a member, those suggested videos rise to the top, and I will do my best to get those done for you that week. Or if you'd like to become a member, just to show love and to support the channel, man, that would be greatly, greatly appreciated as well. Shout out to all the members holding down the membership section, man. I appreciate each of you. So with all that being said, if you've been watching the video this long, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, and we'll definitely see you next time.